All right. Here we are. One Piece anime episode 2. Love his green pants with the shadows.
It's always funny seeing like a character's sort of introduction as a potential antagonist and how they're drawn differently to when they're an ally. Like thinking like Krillin in like Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I mean he looks good as an antagonist though, Krillin. Let's see about Zoro. He's a bad guy. He actually has money.
Yeah, apparently. Which is kind of
I
funny.
guess that makes sense. They did beat up Elvira.
But did they actually take anything other than the rowboat?
I hope so. Actually, what was even left to take considering Nami?
Yeah.
That was probably like his last $5, I bet. I bet you he's gonna be like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm actually broke. Because planning is for non-protagonists.
I'm surprised he didn't just ask to have it put on his treasure tab.
I mean, it might be out. Colby's such a doubter, man. Aramaki. Saro. Why? Why can't you believe him? This is that anime reaction stuff that never sat well with me. Oh. Nanda. This guy's got amazing hearing.
Yeah, that's true.
I love his hair, though. I think he's got the best hair since Luffy.
Like, it really does capture, like, rich asshole, you know.
I just... See, here when it's, like, normal blonde, yeah, you get the rich asshole. But when it was, like, shiny and chrome, he looked like a little beetle man. There we go.
I do really like the job the Netflix actor did with Helmeppo.
Yes, he was amazing. A lot of good things about the Netflix. I also feel like Helmeppo's kind of lacking his youth here. He looks like an old guy who's a loser. Like, well, not old, but old enough that the hormones aren't the real problem. Like, look at that, he's got crow's feet.
He definitely has that more, like, sleazy adult vibe right now.
Yeah. I find it interesting that although he does it, Luffy doesn't actually share the like dire nature to eat the food immediately. You know, it's Zoro who actually has that sentimentality. Even though Luffy agrees with it.
I will say a lot of that sort of aspect's more reserved for a later character, so...
Why is a pirate defying the Navy? Isn't that, like, fundamental?
A pirate hunter defying the Navy. So it's basically bounty hunter.
I feel like subtitles skip that. I know he's a bounty hunter, but...
Yeah.
Isn't he only gonna find out about it if you make a big deal? Terrible
I will
choice.
say, like, the numbers like, oh yeah, it's 3 weeks of doing this. Like they're a bit,
If
you
he
know,
said 1 week,
yeah.
I would be like, damn, that's harsh. You really can die for that, especially since he's in the sun. A month is just like, all right, we're clearly not doing anything real here. Yeah, look at adult sleazy he is. Oh, he took that punch well.
Yeah, considering how Vida like ended up halfway in the middle of the ocean, you know.
Also, how is Colby even holding him back?
He's
This
really
man's
not.
made of rubber.
It's symbolic.
He's doing that white boy outside the club stuff. Hold me back, bro! Hold me back! Hold me back! I've seen that shit in real life. It's as hilarious as the comedy skits. Man's so hungry, he's dreaming about his childhood.
Just delusional.
Did they say how long he's been here?
In this conversation? No. Didn't say.
He just giddily runs off by himself.
Yeah.
Like a
Going in the wrong
schoolgirl.
direction, which is kind of rich for Zoro, like as you'll see, like with the meme. In
Yeah,
later
he got
episodes.
infected with first contact. So I gotta say, as a writing criticism, that flashback could have been a great opportunity to demonstrate why Zoro finds following the law important enough to starve himself to death with a guy who's willing to feed a child to his dog. Like, why does he have trust in the system?
Yeah. I think it's more just to show his honor as a character trait more than anything else.
I know what it's for.
Yeah.
It's just bad.
I wouldn't say there is like an inciting incident for his like whole honor streak, to be honest. It's just he's always had that.
Yeah, if he could at least say, like, I know I'm not smart enough to MacGyver away other than putting myself at the mercy of the Marines, then that would be understandable. Also, what's with the Amazon branding on his chin? And he has a wood
it's
in
the
his
whole
flesh?
marine.
Even if it's treated, there's no way that's good. Oh god, it looks so painful. I guess that's good villain design?
It's certainly unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's marine branding on the sort of jaw.
Oh, that's what that is?
Like
Okay, I'll ask
it's a
you about that more
seagull sort
later.
of thing on the back of the like the marine shirts, and then I can't remember what the translation is for the actual text.
Oh, you know what it is? It's probably some kind of kanji thing. Mui.
It might be like captain or something.
That'd be so much money.
Yeah, like think of how much in terms of like public resources like was brought in to like fund that thing. Right in front of like, you know, the main antagonist for this mini arc as well.
I love how his son just got kidnapped, and he's immediately like, "Oh, let me look at this ant on the ground."
I mean, he's already, you know, like said, "Oh yeah, I don't really care about you," you know.
Just like attention span wise. That was a fun comedy moment.
Typical One Piece.
Colby's helping.
No, starting to step up.
Anti-corruption.
Like, get out of his shell.
This is a good line. Also, Colby's really struggling with those ropes compared to how good he was at everything else.
Like, considering how good he is with, like, rope stuff and all that, like, in the Netflix of, like, yeah, I was on a pirate ship, like, doing these, like, knots stuff for years, like...
Every time I look at his elbow, I just want to, like, bash it with a hammer so it pops right out like a pimple. And that's gross.
Just that sort of, like, uncanny, unsettling type.
It's got a bit of Akira vibe. Again, like, cute, but almost irrelevant to what's actually happening.
Yeah.
This is cool.
The Alvida Club didn't work, bullets don't work.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you gotta, like, Fantastic Four freeze him. But don't tell me. To be continued.
Yeah. So, there's episode 2. Like, I don't think we'll go into, like, as much in depth on this one, like, compared to episode 1.
I think my analysis came out while we were watching.
Yeah. I mean, plus, like, the next episode is literally just going to cap this off anyway. Though, there are 2 things that I, like, wanted to, like, bring up. One, I guess, would be, like, the flashback stuff. Like, it was coming up there, like, seeing Kuina. Now, obviously you have read the manga in this section. It does go into the flashback, like, improper in the manga, but it doesn't here.
Yes, it does. It's still not ideal, but it is better. Because at least it's meaningful within itself. But in the anime, I'm, like, not impressed.
Yeah.
Oh no, the honorable samurai guy who has a heart of gold has some, like, missing waifu, probably dead, who's, like, cheering him on. Like, okay.
Yeah. Like,
so, I'm not there yet with...
Yeah, because I think, like, if they did put the full thing, like, it would interrupt the flow too much. Especially since this is, like, second episode territory as well.
Well, this is why we're watching at 1.5 speed, but if they used their time more effectively, because they weren't worried about old school anime standards, you know, trying to milk ice cold, then they would have had time to fit it in.
I mean, would you want to fit it in now?
Not the whole thing, but just the sense that he came from order. Because he was part of, like, an actual established school. So that, again, would lend credence to why he's doing the whole song and dance and being tricked anyway. But like, overall, it was an okay episode. Not as good as the first. First one was quite solid. Easily an 8. This one's like a 6.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff. It would need only a little bit. Only just a teeny bit to make it a 7.
Yeah, the other, like, difference, like, well, we won't get into, like, all the Nami differences, because as we've established, like, she isn't, like, actually in the show proper until, like, basically start of Orange Town anyway.
Actually, I prefer that, though. Because I feel like she already has shown herself to be capable and cool. You know, it's kind of a treat. We don't really need it right now. It's not part of the main meal.
So you're not necessarily, like, missing the, like, Nami, like, infiltrating into the Marines and stealing a uniform and stuff from the bar. Like the Netflix have.
I think that stuff adds value. Did I need it this episode? Not necessarily. Would I have appreciated if it was there? Yeah.
Yeah. And the other sort of Netflix comparison would be, that bar fight in particular with Zoro. Like, that's where the whole rice ball incident happens.
Oh, the bar fight's way better.
Yeah.
So much better.
I mean, it's not
like, that's
actually
a bar fight worth getting arrested over.
It's not actually Zoro's introduction in the Netflix, though, because they have a different Netflix-only scene.
Yeah, he's actually being a bounty hunter during his intro.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I think Netflix just had the hindsight to get right.
Yeah,
So I'm not
I
really
would
gonna begrudge
say
this.
on that initial scene, like that is something that is canon, but it's only like referenced, and we're talking like in 100 episodes time.
Wow.
So yeah, like we can talk to that like when we get there, because that's not even like really discussed like in proper, even in the anime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like
Also, I get Zoro's a rough guy. And sure, he did just get arrested recently. But I feel like this guy is arresting a lot of people. Like, they could have done more to represent why the townspeople were scared of him rather than just, like, concerned or, like, being quiet or not trying to be involved. They were actively afraid of Zoro himself when he's functionally a cop. And it's not like we see him antagonizing people either. Yeah, he's gruff, but, like, fundamentally, he's looking out for people.
yeah. Um, I mean, I
But I
think
guess
part
it's
of
part
that
of
is
setting him up
like
as a pseudo antagonist.
yeah, I think part of it's down to like reputation and nickname. Like it's like the demon pirate hunter Zoro.
True, true.
Um,
I think honestly, that's probably the point where this episode could have gone from like a 7 to an 8 or a 9 is playing more with Zoro's reputation because they bother to take this whole like 5 minute scene of setting him up, and then there's no real follow through on that element.
I feel like I need to like address myself with Zoro right now and say he's actually not one of my favorite characters, like overall. And
Really?
that is
So he's
yeah.
one of mine. So I'm saying all of this because I actually like him. I think there's good things to work with there.
Yeah, and that's not to say I don't like him. That's more I have
He's just
way
not
more
your top
characters
3.
ahead. Oh, like by no
Yeah.
means, he's probably not even my top 10. Which, like,
Damn.
considering like opinion polls and stuff, like he's always like been consistently
So
like
what is
number
it? Just
two.
like Usopp, Blue Mary, Usopp,
Um,
Nami, Luffy, Usopp.
Usopp would be in my top 10 probably. But even he isn't in my top three. I think last time I
Usopp's in
went.
my top 3 right now. It basically goes Treasure Chest Man, Dana Bucket or whatever. Then we got Usopp, and then we got Luffy, and then we got Zoro and Nami. Hard to say right now. Let's keep
Yeah,
watching, and I'll maybe have an
yeah.
opinion.
Like I think Luffy was my number one last time I went through things, and that's purely because he's a main protagonist that doesn't annoy me in a shonen. Because I do tend to
Yeah.
like get tired by the tropes a fair bit, whereas like Luffy at least freshens it up and keeps it interesting. I find.
Yes, he has his tropes, but he's also going in a different direction. There's a great intentionality that I've read interviews of the author because I've just caught up with all the big 3, and that was only but even he mentioned always the plan to have Luffy stick out different. And I think all the big 3 kind of had to go that direction because Goku friggin' killed it.
Yeah.
And they had their own different time period that was a lot more punk culture as well. So, like, heroes being part of the counterculture during, like, late 90s, early 2000s, big surprise.
Mm.
That's my era.
All right. I think we've delayed it long enough. Let's get into episode 3.
Yes. Let play. I love the trumpets, though.
I do like the music.
Mm. You could use those swords to, like, get him
Cut
free.
the ropes. Yeah. Honestly, Luffy using a sword is a terrifying concept.
I don't feel like a sword would be right for him, even if he were to use a weapon.
To be clear, when I say a terrifying concept, I mean in terms of like actually being effective in any sort of way.
Yeah. He could use a club because they're so momentum based, or even a naginata. I think Whitebeard might use one, something like that, or even a saber, but not a katana. It's interesting that they do the fruits in a cross pattern. Don't tell me, but I do wonder if there's anything deeper to that.
I mean, I don't think I can tell you.
Also, I appreciate that they look like pineapples because the history of pineapples as like a rare commodity was so fascinating. Damn. It's a great intro pose.
Yeah.
Dumb as hell, but amazing looking. Yeah, if
How do
that's
you
not
feel
One
about
Piece,
the
I don't
sword
know
in
what
the
to tell
mouth,
you.
huh?
Oh, I love the sword in the mouth. I do think it would be good if he had some sort of like alteration to the handle or something, or even just like metal teeth, like metal canines to kind of up the ante, and also to increase his character design complexity. Yeah, metal canines would do a lot for me.
I think he was originally designed as being a henchman for Buggy. And then...
That makes sense. I can see that actually. Because he does have a similar color scheme to the Juggalo guys in a way, with his antagonistic green colors.
Yeah.
And the triple sword is like clearly a sword swallower kind of juggler thing. Everyone's spotted weakness now. Must shoot themselves in the head. I don't think if you're spotting weakness, you have the courage to shoot yourself in the head.
Yeah. It's also quite different from the manga, because like in the manga, like Morgan is slicing all his men down constantly. It's like, you've disobeyed me,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you are dead. Like in
I
the
find it
manga,
interesting it's just rankless and not powerless. Oh, I like his pants.
in fact, he's having to hold
This
the
is
like part of
creepy,
the arm
but I
as
love the
well.
character design there of using the weird arm as a special attack. Like a nutcracker almost. The punch was so regular. I thought he was ignoring him. He just actually didn't notice. Double hit. Nut shot. Oh, it's Zoro.
Yeah. But that teamwork in play.
Ooh, Captain. The beautiful smile with the trills. Zoro did kind of take him out anticlimactic, though. They could have used some of the excess flair they put in the new episodes, just drag a bit of it through time.
This is still like episode 3 of like a new show, you know.
Yeah, but One Piece was established by this point as a manga.
Somewhat, but like you never knew like it was going to be as big as it is now.
Piano singer.
Buggy the Immortal.
Would they call him Buggy the Immortal?
Yeah.
That's a good name. Yo,
They should use that more
I always
often.
love Buggy. Wait, actually, Buggy's my third.
Okay.
Sorry, Luffy. I miss this old style of animation look. It's like flat, but it's also charming.
Yeah.
Got a bit of a Ghibli feel to it.
Like One Piece for the longest time, like just before sort of Wano arc, had like really kind of soulless animation. Decent period.
Mm.
Outside of like the very sort of like major sections, anyway.
Mm. But even the houses there, they look like painted.
Yeah.
You know? Oh. I don't like that. that he already has an idea. It's more special when it was like a collaborative thing.
The geography on the go.
Mm-hmm. Wait, so the Grand Line is the strip of land? No, it's not.
No,
Isn't it the
it's not the strip of
parallel?
land.
Or
It's
perpendicular,
yeah, it's
rather?
the perpendicular band around.
It's weird that they don't show that properly.
They give a better indication, like towards the end of the East Blue Saga.
Yeah, well, we'll have the maps. That makes sense.
Like a lot of this early section, I kind of keep
Since
in
I was a
mind
little
of-
kid, I've never had friends. Brother, how old are you? You're like, you look 10.
I think he's like 14, 15.
Really?
Yeah.
There's some weird anime stuff. Whoa!
Very punch.
I love his face there. That's good. He looks exactly like Goldie Rogers. I mean, brigadiers are a thing. If that's the right word.
There's also. Well, actually, I won't get into that for spoilers.
This is like the 7 Great Pirates or something.
Yeah, that are like affiliated with
Some conspiracy shit.
You
we don't need to
seen
get
me
into it.
Through the Netflix, so.
Yeah, Mihawk, Jinbei, they get mentioned there. I appreciate the Marines are like, hey man, reinforcements are gonna come, and not all pirates are you. You do gotta get the hell out of here. This is the first time we see Zoro without the headband, actually?
I don't think he had it on in the restaurant. I might be wrong on that.
Okay. Wow, it's the first clear shot. I do like the contrast he has of like business mode, dark eyes, overshadow. Even though it's not how a bandana works. It's just cool.
Alright. Well, we're here, Mel. That is the first 3 episodes of One Piece.
The end of episode 3 and first partner recruited.
Yeah, first.
There were a lot of things I liked about this last one. Particularly Colby coming back in appreciation with the rest of the Marines. I can tell that's probably going to be a trend for this series, and it might get campy after a while. But for this moment, it felt like a much-needed recognition. That was also offset by like the realism of, hey man, we're gonna still have to pay taxes and stuff in a week.
Yeah. Marines like, oh yeah, we're gonna go on like hunger strike for like a week for doing this action of like giving the salute off to a pirate at the end. But you know, we do kind of like 0-1.
I mean, think of all the statue money that they have left over, though. Like,
let's see what we could do in terms of like selling this thing off in the various parts, like making memorabilia for the town. Like, hey, do you want a bit of like a broken bit of statue from Captain Morgan to symbolize his downfall? Like,
yeah, that'd be funny. Problem is, like, what are they even doing with him? Because it depends on how corrupt the Marine is, and I don't want to know, so don't tell me.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to find out what their expectations are when they hand him over. Because if he's, like, killing people for arbitrary reasons, you know, they used to do that in the military, but it was not something done lightly or sustainably. Like, you could get away with that until your superior officer got notified. And then he's like, hey, I was fine with you doing whatever until it became my problem. Don't make this my problem.
So I won't
And it's
address.
not like he was doing such a stellar job to justify his corruption.
So I won't address what happens, but I'll say that yeah, it gets addressed in the cover stories. So the manga has, the first
Yes,
cover,
I've
and
heard
they
about
all
this, that the
sequence
actual
together.
cover itself is just used as an extra super panel.
Yeah, so like you link those together, and it forms its own sort of like story. And that one is animated. Like the first couple of them do get animated, so we will be seeing that. In
Okay,
however
are they
many
part of the regular
episodes.
episodes, or are they a separate OVA?
They're part of the regular episodes. Those ones.
Okay.
So we will get there. They're a little weird in the sense of it's going off of these like non-dialogue panels, so it's a bit disjointed in a way.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah. So we'll sort of see it from that.
Yeah,
A
I'm
lot of
looking forward
the
to seeing more about the Marine Corps and how their interactions are. I hope that they actually have something to say. Because I know Colby's gonna be doing this whole like, oh, I'm just a new little wubby gubby who's just a little wumple who's surprisingly skilled and filled with ambition for good. And I love that for him. But I want more narrative than just that told.
yeah.
If we're gonna be stepping away from friggin' Luffy and Zoro, you better be like putting in some work.
Yeah, because obviously, like in the Netflix, like Kobe is very prominent, like
Yes,
in
he
the
is.
Netflix.
And I
Uh,
think it's good because Garp does a great job of just boom, lances in and commands the entire show's back half, like the B plot, very well.
I
And I think from what I recall, the anime's different. Garp doesn't shortcut that, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, like Garp and his appearance and like all the stuff we learn in the Netflix, like his relation to Luffy and all that. That's more than a couple hundred episodes into the anime,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm using that number vaguely. That's don't give you any indication of where, but that is like
Yeah, it's
it
down there.
is down the line, which kind of shows you, that all that stuff like basically didn't happen in canon.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So I kind of want to hear a little bit of your opinions. I've been very vocal as we've been watching all three of these
yeah,
episodes, but
I
you're kind of retreading a little bit of journey for yourself. What's going on with you?
so there is actually like one line of dialogue I picked up on this time, which is one of those interesting in hindsight things of, I guess that kind of foreshadows this down the line. And I'm actually
Mm.
probably alongside these. I'm probably gonna like maybe do like a separate sort of my breakdown, like theorizing type video, like on the side.
Well, tell me what the line was, just so I can pontificate on it. Maybe I'll
Um,
surprise you.
there's stories of Marines being pirate spies.
Oh yeah. I guess like to me, from a world building background, that just kind of makes sense.
Yes.
And then we also see Nami like bashing people over the head. So it's like she's literally doing that while they're
Yeah.
talking about it. But
Well,
it is very much an obvious like flag of we shall come back to it later.
I
And
mean,
I'm
I wouldn't even necessarily say that. It's
interested to
like,
see if One Piece actually follows up on that and with what kind of pace they do.
yeah, I will say it's one of those more subtle things, and it's not even secondary. It's more tertiary more than anything else. It's like,
Here's my thing is that Iron Axe guy, he's clearly working with Buggy. There's no way that thing is in his and he's acting the way he does, with the map and his own statue and stuff. Like he's using pirate money, you know?
I
There's a
mean,
reason
like
he's not spending that money on extra cannons.
you just because you've seen the sort of the Netflix stuff, like there is no link, or at least to this day, there's been no link shown between Buggy and Morgan.
I'm just saying that's what I'm
Yeah.
seeing.
Now, obviously, like in terms of like manga differences and all that, like Buggy wasn't even really shown to this point.
No, Buggy in the manga is quite the elusive character, and then he shows up with massive impact. In a way, like my expectations from him, from seeing him in the manga, is like he's a big deal. And from what I understand, that's actually true, even though a lot of people don't like to admit it.
Buggy is a very like love him hate him character on the whole.
Yeah. So the third side of this pyramid here is that there seems to be a very large information gap in this section of the story. And it's not one that's entirely born out of like early world build syndrome where you just don't have answers. It seems to be a deliberate expression of the ignorance of common folk and the mysteries around both pirates, One Piece, world government, and all that other stuff, which is honestly pretty in line with a world that has very limited communication systems and very long travel periods with like harshly guarded borders. This is the sort of thing that happens. And I almost feel like I wonder subconsciously if it's drawing upon the, or intentionally, drawing upon the pirate history of Japan and the land history of Japan, the 200-year quote unquote period of peace, which was actually like you're not allowed to go anywhere or do anything or be anything. And then the pirate stuff was like, in real life, people were basically military commanders and naval officers who were like, hey, our work and investment in this area holds value. And we don't feel like that value is being respected outside of war situations. So we're either left with the opportunity to go to war and incite civil issues, or we just declare ourselves as another branch of governance. And they had lots of fusses over that because of the semi-legitimacy of it. So curious to see how we've seen a bit of world government, and I'm not counting Alfredo sauce. I want to see how Buggy's group really turns out in the anime.
Yeah. I mean, we'll be getting onto that like pretty much directly after this. I'm gonna go ahead and piggyback off like that sort of like lack of information point right now. I can't go fully in depth into that for spoiler reasons, but that was actually something I was thinking of maybe like bringing up like part of the way through that episode of when they were getting into I think some of the conversations in the restaurant in terms of like, oh, what the Grand Line is. It's this pirate graveyard, so on and so forth. Like, you've probably just from osmosis know about
and just
like,
even Luffy
himself.
Prominence. He shows off his power every opportunity, and nobody knows of him, and he makes himself known. So either he was somehow keeping quiet, he was restrained by somebody, like a mentor character, which he just vaguely allude to, but even then it's not in the sense of like a close mentorship that would require him to be in locked parameter.
Like, we've had two characters, right?
So,
like, both Alvida and Morgan both say, like, oh, yeah, rumors of devil fruits, or we don't know much about them. Like,
and these are
kind
people
of like a thing
who, like,
legend.
actually are traveling and have power.
Yeah. And, obviously, like, from even what you know, like, there are a lot of devil fruits later on, obviously. So...
Yeah. I will say... I'm gonna hold opinion on if they overdo it, because obviously, like Pareto distribution, if you're at the upper echelon of people, at least half of them are gonna have those devil fruits, because dang if they ain't handy. But so far they've been pretty restrained, and I appreciate like you're talking about Morgan's axe a lot, because it's not just an axe. It's very symbolic of the type of character design and power system that we're going to be implementing going forwards.
I think, to me, like, Morgan isn't really a villain I think about much, like, in the grand scheme of things. Like, he is very much like a villain of the week sort of point of things.
Yeah.
Um, he does get more interesting to me with an upcoming arc. Not that we see him there, but we get like a little tidbit on the back end that
Yeah,
sort of
like what
informs
was
a bit
his
more.
actual influence in the world, sort of thing.
Yeah. Um,
Mm.
but like I'll bring that up because that's like one of those like hidden like small details that's like put in front of you that you might not like notice on actually watching it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, well, obviously Luffy's here. But no, it's about a broader world. Because again, they don't even know about Luffy. So there's probably like other stuff going on and other players making moves.
I mean, Luffy's
Okay.
just sort of starting out at this sort of point of things. Obviously, he's only just like ended up in the barrel, which, yeah, I suppose, like even sort of addressing that because this isn't even shown in the sort of Shanks section. They don't show him like fighting the Lord of the Coast, which is the big sea monster who punches
Shiny
out when he
Yellow?
leaves. Yeah, it's shown in the introduction, in the actual like opening, but it's not actually shown in the anime.
Wait, it's in the anime opening?
Yeah, yeah.
I saw the eel around, but I don't remember him punching it or anything or giving it his conqueror's hockey.
Yeah, just
Okay, yeah, so it does come up to him and then he whacks it. But
like
like he's with a whole group here. The way the framing has it, like this is something he gets up to once he's rolling, versus like this is actually the start of his journey, and the power levels are different than you realized.
yeah, like
Because Alvita,
because
while she does clonk a guy across the sea like a skipping stone, she's also a joke character. Whereas this Moray looking guy, he really establishes a sense of threat that lets you know that Luffy's starting from a place of actual power, but also like innocence in that like it's all raw.
let's get into that detail actually, because yeah, we've seen at this point, yeah, we're like 3 episodes in, but Luffy has come across like Alvida and her club, like Morgan, well, Morgan's men like shooting him with bullets and all that.
Mm.
How do you feel about Luffy's power level in regards to the world around him right now? Is that like a
I feel like he's
concern
in
at
a really
all,
good
or
place actually.
okay?
Because let's take a look at Naruto. She's just like infinite well of untapped potential. And we can get into the whole Godchild stuff and blah blah blah. That's a whole other discussion. We can have a whole Naruto discussion. But the point is that he is a person who doesn't know how to even utilize himself or that he even holds potential beyond just some like dark shadow external force that he doesn't have any relation to. And Bleach starts itself off with Ichigo being a badass, but kind of like Berserk in a way. Ichigo is a badass. He's the best of basically any mortal you see in terms of actual talent and attitude, but he is by no means supernatural. He's just naturally talented, but he's not supernaturally talented. And that's where the development and further delve into his own psyche and like connection to the divine brings out the actual super part. So for Luffy, it's really not about self introspection because he's truly from the Goku type, where it's like, I am this character. And while I might have flexes or moments of learning, it's not really about changing who I am, it's just how I go about it. So for Luffy, I feel like he needs to start at a much higher baseline because he is a baseline character and he is the kind of like Captain America, the piece used to define the other eclectic group of weird pirates.
Very much sort of the figurehead of things. Uh, yeah, I suppose as well because I think I've still got the video open. We're gonna go into the sort of back lore of Mal's One Piece journey again, real quick,
Oh, okay.
with the 4 Kids stuff. Because you said, yeah, you've gone ahead, you watched the 4Kids dub, but probably don't recall much of the things outside the opening.
I recall the Catman who shows up in the Netflix, and I thought he was kind of cool in the anime. I also just like cats. So, I didn't really see the whole arc. I just saw him during the final fight scene when he's like zipping around. So what else? What about 4Kids?
So
There was just some censorship stuff that I'm sure was
yeah,
trained.
yeah. So I've got. I'm bringing it up now on because I did go ahead and get the 4Kids dub episode. Some of the censorship, like one of the classics from episode 3.
Mappo! These voice actors are clowning. Okay, I like his voice actor though.
Oh wait, is it not showing the full?
Okay, that's a
shot?
Clown laugh. It sounds like Pokemon to me. Not in the flatter.
It's so emotionless, like the Luffy voice actor. I was kind of hoping it would give the actual shot I'm looking for of the actual weapon. I think it's actually a bit before. Oh,
is
there
this
it
with
was.
the gun? Oh, yeah. What the hell was that? He's got some kind of phone on a Nintendo hammer?
It's a spring-loaded hammer.
Like, when people make fun of Ruby, like the Rooster Teeth animated show that's dying and being revived right now, hopefully.
That we are very aware of.
This is the shit they're making fun of.
Yeah. So, like, this is like, you know, it's own sort of
world building I need, actually. Never mind, you know, can we get 4Kids but in Japanese?
No.
Because this is what's selling me. Like, we were talking about the axe hand and all that stuff. This is where it's at. What were they trying to convey with this?
Well, I mean, he's like holding a pistol in the actual, right? Like, they can't have...
Even look like a rig.
They can't have him, like, going ahead and, like, potentially, like, having him, like, hostage with, like, a gun or something like that. They can't have guns. Like, they've given the Marines water pistols, you know? Like...
but, like, why couldn't they just make it, like, a saber with a little extra ring for his finger? That's a thing that they did. Why are they doing this?
Look,
like...
Mal, that's too normal. This is, like...
This is the company
that renamed Ace to Trace, okay?
Why did they do that, by the way?
Because I think there's like an alcohol like beverage that is called Ace, like, but it's like one of those like obscure
there
words
is,
like
but
or it's like a promotion of gambling. It's like one of the two, but like, you know.
Yeah, probably. I bet it probably had more to do with the card gambling and that sort of idea. You know.
So, part of the reason I'm going to bring up the 4Kids here, because I want to take this opportunity on camera to go ahead and rag on 4Kids for almost ruining my One Piece fandom.
Okay.
Like, I have gone ahead
Bleed
and
them out, sir. Bleed them out.
I have gone ahead and rewatched that first episode in the 4Kids. It is, like, dialogue... It's almost like AI generated. It's not human. There's no connection. It's, I'm Luffy, I'm doing this. And, like, interacting with Kobe. And you know how... You know how, like, Kobe is, like, getting... Like, I'm getting bullied and stuff. And then, like, Luffy, like, punches him. It's like, look, why did you hit me? Because you're being dumb right now. It's like, in the other one, it's like... They have, obviously, like, the startup animation type thing. It's like, Kobe, like, cowers. It's like, oh, I thought you were going to hit me. And Luffy's like, no, why would I do such a thing? It's like...
yeah, that's like, don't hug me, I'm scared, bro. That's the weird, stilted dialogue that they have. Like, it's almost more frightening. Like, I would rather see, like, animated, like, him, like, you know, like a little nod or something, or like a pat on the shoulder, like, hey, buddy, don't think like that. Rather than, like, weird non-sequitur calling out the change that they have made unmitigated.
Is there anything else we really want to bring up about it? like we've kind of gone over like all the episodes individually. I think we've got the general vibe of how we feel about them. I guess I haven't
Hmm.
said my own of. I am definitely in the camp of it doesn't get like exceptional until like X number of episodes in. So
Mm.
because I have that sort of context of it gets this good now, this doesn't look as good in comparison.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I, I know a lot of people who get caught in that trap, but as somebody who just likes to analyze media, for me, I don't, it is what it is. Like as I said earlier, I love JoJo's Part 1 and 2. And do they have the nuance and the world building and the complexity and just raw genius that's been honed into this Araki mastermind? Gods no. But they're so truthful to what they are that like the sincerity
they have
carries
that
it.
charm.
And
Yeah.
right now the sincerity is still moving with me for One Piece. Um I think the 1.5 is helping a lot because I'm gonna be honest, if we were going through that whole thing and we would basically have an extra 20 minutes on our hands because we
Yeah.
watched 20-minute episodes, at least 15 of just like what is going on and who cares.
Yeah.
And not even to mention commercial breaks during like regular screen watching. I have no surprise that I bounced off One Piece as a younger kid.
Ah.
Because there's just not enough to
So
there's
One
just
Piece
not
is
enough to
rubber.
really flow like with staccato, which can benefit to re-picking up your interest after a commercial or whatever the break is, or just a moment of slow pacing. It's not really a staccato series. It's got waves to it, rise highs and lows so far.
In multiple ways, it's got waves. Yeah.
Yeah. But uh
I think.
it doesn't have that like there's a difference when Naruto like gets the 3 lines on his face and he's going QB mode, or Goku finally, actually is fighting somebody or like just more like in Dragon Ball Z,
Finally.
it's not the fighting, it's actually the staccato moment is when somebody shows up, and then that's a big deal. And then Bleach is like, God, Bleach is that's one of the things I think Bleach did better than any of the other big three, and probably even Dragon Ball 2, is just the first couple arcs especially, they're just punching you in the face, and
You
they
know
will
what's
sucker punch
funny?
you, they will box you, they will wrestle, they'll do whatever it takes to hold you here. And it's not even like we're trying to hold you here, it's just we got things to do.
You know what's gonna be? This is gonna sound like probably hilarious to you, but when I was watching Bleach for the first time, one of the big turn offs for me was pacing, like early on.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It felt like things just took forever to actually do. Now, I watched One Piece for the first time like years after I watched Bleach. So maybe I got numbed by other things in the sort of like go between. Like my
Yeah.
reference, like in terms of anime beforehand, like going into Bleach would be Naruto and then Pokemon Digimon, which are more,
Yeah.
episodes of the week type thing. So they're like very
Yeah. They're
self-contained.
still anime, like they still,
Yeah.
affect the intake perception, but there is like a separation of state and church to some degree for those. Uh,
I think the
The thing
final
about
thing.
Bleach is it's willing to have quiet moments so it can be as loud as possible. And that's not for every watcher or reader. It's
Yeah.
it's it's not. It's just not. Like
I would
I
say
I
One
love
Piece is
Bleach.
very
I don't
much
think
the
it's for
same in
everyone.
that. Yeah,
Hmm?
I'd say One Piece is actually the same. Like it does have ebbs and flows to okay, we're doing the goofy pirate stuff to this is very serious and it's like we're tackling slavery here, like type stuff. Like it
Yeah, but the
goes.
difference is like they're still doing stuff. It's just of a different nature. Whereas Bleach is like, no, we're not. Like we're actually just going to be quiet. We're actually just not going to have a background anymore. We're going to just like drain everything out for this like crystallization moment. And that's not for everyone. I feel like One Piece does a much better job of having a flow, but they're different genres, so these are like, because Bleach has, especially in the early days where I have a lot of love for the horror genre conventions that Bleach had, because hollows when they first show up are terrifying. those guys are nasty. Whereas One Piece is more about like we're existing continuously, and that's such an important part of them. Where Bleach had this duality, uh, so it's very fun to see the distinctions between the two. Naruto kind of fits into this in a weird way because their filler was just so bad when it did happen that there was like nothing to even redeem from it, except for like the goofiest of goofs for like the absolute Narutards. But
Naruto being my introduction into filler, the whole.
yeah, that's true.
You watch like 70 episodes, it's like, nothing seems to be happening much actually. What's going on here?
Yeah, so far, if I had to give credit for openings, I can only compare with the Naruto manga because I don't remember the Naruto anime opening too well, like the first, little arc. But it ended up
like
with
the
him
first
summoning a
one,
million people and beating the shit out of a guy, so it couldn't have been that bad.
the first one
I
is
think
Izuka.
I'm
Then
gonna have
it
to rate
goes
Bleach higher.
into So
In
Naruto,
terms
like
of
first one
opening
is
impact, Bleach, Naruto, and then One Piece.
okay. I
Um,
having tried to rewatch,
but there are
Naruto,
things that One Piece has that Bleach and Naruto don't have, which is that they're doing I think they're doing a better job of setting up things, um, in terms of like just this like freedom of movement and endless possibility. I feel like One Piece has done an excellent job of that, and that's like basically their prime value is this sense of endless adventure. Um, so, I will accredit it to that, even though my rating sounds harsh, I'm still ranking it amongst the other great three. Like I'm not like trying to trash bucket it.
yeah, like I
So
would
I had a pretty good time
say,
with it.
I'd say like One Piece is that sort of like slow burn in a way. Like it's that we're gonna be like in this for the long haul. We're like building things up, gradually as they need to,
Hmm.
type deal.
Hmm.
Because we want to like have an established base for everything. Um,
Yeah.
and
Accounting for that, I would maybe rank it above Naruto.
like I
Because as good as Naruto is, you don't really get a sense of like where are we going from here.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the exact like opening 3 episodes. So, like the opening episode for Naruto is the Izuka like initial exam thing failing, like the traitor guy getting Naruto steal scroll type thing. Then
Mm.
there's like some sort of like weird. Actually, wait, is it the Konohamaru episode and the like weird bathroom one with like Sakura and Sasuke and like eating bad food or something? Like
Yeah. I'm I'm a manga guy, so
yeah.
that's my uh main mode of operation, modus operandi. It'll be interesting to see how One Piece grows into itself. And I think from there, what else is there left to say? I feel like we've covered quite a bit. So get in the comments, people. Tell us what it was about. Tell us what things that we might have noticed that you didn't pick up on your first time, or what your theories are, or what episodes that I should be looking forward to. You don't have to give me spoilers, but you can at least give a number.
Yeah. Which
And
I've got a
uh,
question to pose actually, and that is
okay,
how many people actually do want us to see filler? Because
yeah,
generally speaking, I prefer canon. I haven't actually myself seen most of the filler stuff. Like I've seen bits and pieces of like the earliest filler arc, and then I've seen the classic. Everyone seems to want everyone to react to it G8 arc.
mm,
Which comes in like 150 episodes or so. Because
that's a while.
it's definitely a while away, yeah. But it's one of those things just kind of like ask now more than anything else.
Yeah, I agree. Tell us your feelings on One Piece filler, what your experiences are, and tell us if there are any audio issues. Let us know
I
about
think
that.
I'll
We're doing
very
our
much
best
pick
over
up on
here.
that, like when I'm editing this together.
Well, the comments drive the algorithm. I don't care if they're good or bad, especially if they're not directed at me and it's just at our like sound equipment. Who gives a shit?
Like we just go ahead and I put in like very like obvious mistakes, and it's like, actually no, it's this. It's like, well, thanks for the engagement there.
Yes, exactly. There we go. We got to bait them in. One Piece, we're fishing, baby. One Piece is the hate watchers you made along the way. Yeah. Tell us what insights you enjoy. What moments you almost prefer us to just kind of be quiet and sit in the moment, and what moments you're kind of looking to see our hype and theory crafting and all that other stuff. And whatever info you provide, we appreciate it all. Even if it's just like hey, I'm here to support for the algorithm.
Like, go
Whatever
ahead and enthuse Mal, give him motivation because he needs it.
Yes, please. Please, I'm a motivation.
We've been planning on doing this for months, over 6 months at this point. And partially that's me getting COVID, but like.
Yes, getting diseases that don't exist.
Coming.
Sounds like a guy who lives in a place that's not really even a country.
I mean, yeah, like, is Scotland actually a country now? Well, we'll see. We've got an election coming up. Maybe we'll be considered a country again.
Okay. Let's keep it there before the video gets taken offline. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. It was a more joyful experience than I was kind of anticipating. I felt like I was bracing myself to be let down by this thing that everybody can't stop talking about. And
yeah,
while I'm still very much able to critique it and call out things that I just think could be done better, and while I see what it is, I'm not going to pretend it's something it's not, just for making people happy. But there's some genuine like truths to what's on screen there and what people are taking away from the show. So I'm excited to find more of that. And I'm excited to see Best Boy Buggy. Because Buggy's Little Business is about the end of where I read the manga. I just dipped my toe in the manga before we got locked onto this path. So there it is.
I mean, we're over 1,090 episodes in, in terms of the actual anime right now. So you are 3 episodes into it now. I think part of it is taking that sort of initial plunge of, I guess I'm actually doing it now, and sort of the hesitation going into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hopefully,
I'm just really excited to get past
East Blue,
Arlong Park.
Yeah, I think Baratie
and not just past Arlong Park, but past Arlong Park. I don't want the next part, because the next part is just going to be a whole other thing of setup with the new Grand Ladder or whatever the hell.
I actually like the very short arc just after Arlong Park.
Okay. My hopes are not high, but I'm glad
it is very much a setup one, but I like that setup one. And Baratie...
Daimaru? I'm waiting for Daimaru, or whatever his name is. I'm trying to remember his name. Little treasure box, man.
Oh.
I will have a rant ready for you guys. You guys are going to see my first real character analysis video. Tekken ain't got shit on me.
you've seen the manga for that, basically one episode off. Why am I blanking on his name? I'm normally really good with names. I know freaking Bachi. I know Whoop Slap. How do I remember Whoop Slap's name but
Whoop
not
Slap sounds like an 80s show.
Gaimon is the name.
Yeah, it is Daimon. I was pretty close.
Gaimon, yeah.
Daimon. I'm gonna write a One Piece thesis on Daimon. So get ready, guys. Let me know in the comments if you're ready for a One Piece thesis on Daimon. Because I'm being ironic, but ironic in the way that I'm actually doing it.
Yeah, I think Baratie is going to be basically a whole new arc for you. It is very different to the Netflix version.
Yeah, Baratie, I don't really remember anything. I've seen a clip of Zoro flailing against Mihawk, which was cooler in the anime. But
so you've actually seen the anime version?
Yeah, or sorry, not. It was cooler in the Netflix. Is what I meant to say. I've seen the anime clip where he's flailing, and I think the Netflix is 1 billion times better, incomparably. It's anyway. But
I love the Mihawk actor.
uh, I don't really know what's going on with Sanji and Brachi, so uh, let's find
Yeah.
out.